Hi, I'm Lisa Hayes with Dreams for Society, where we imagine, visualize, and create. Today is October 24, 2017, and we're so excited to have a beautiful female goddess with us, Reverend Merriam Joan Handy. Reverend Merriam was fully ordained as a minister in 1993. She is a teacher of higher spiritualism and the teachings of the great ascended masters of Shambhala, and a master teacher for evolving masters. She has both a Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Metaphysics degree. She is certified as a corporate trainer, a master therapist in clinical hypnotherapy, and is trained in pastoral psychology, applying to relationships and marriages, grief, stress, and conflict counseling. As a personal cosmic coach, Merriam is devoted to helping people clear negative memories and energies and develop inherent divine gifts. You can reach Merriam at www.cosmiccoachingforyou.com or on her cell phone. Would you like to give that out, Merriam, or would you rather than get you on your website?
No, hello everyone. Yes, you can call me anytime and we can set up a chit chat. It's 561-808-4900.
Well, as we alluded to at the onset of this, we imagine, visualize, and create on this website, Merriam. And I know that you're right there with me on this, and I'm so excited to get started. So before we do, though, I'd love to let the viewers know a little bit more about you, because I just did a very skim the surface type biography of you, because you have just been there and done it all over the map. And you have so much in your pedigree. How did you get to this point in your life where you became a master teacher for evolving masters and a personal cosmic coach?
Well, I would say I was a late bloomer when it comes to these awakening gifts, but I was always a student, forever a student, always studying. And so what I always say, so many moons ago, I was introduced to an event up in, it was actually an outward bound camp on the border of Canada and Minnesota. And I did something called a 4-day personal revolution weekend. Woohoo! And it was headed up by a couple of psychologists out of Syracuse, New York, because I'm originally from Binghamton, New York. And it was dedicated to doing a couple of things. And one of them was removing all your fears using some very strange methodologies. And then that involved a ropes course, 60 feet in the air, and with 10 stations. And of which, I was afraid of heights when I went. So after my ropes course, I was no longer afraid of heights. And it finished the weekend with being able to walk on fire, across a bed of coals, which I actually helped build the fire. It was 5 feet wide by 25 feet long. And when the evening came, we had trained ourselves hypnotically to think we were walking on cool moss. And I walked across it and I turned around and go, ha! Ain't no thing, I'm going to do it again. So, and that was under the most incredible northern lights, which ended up forming the sign of the cross in the sky at the end of it all. So that experience said, wow, there's a lot going on in the universe that I have no awareness of. I must learn, I must explore, I must develop. I just like the power of the mind and be able to walk on fire and to be able to remove a fear like instantaneously. Well, that was the trigger. The personal revolution weekend set me off on an adventure that has never stopped. And I was then introduced to a gentleman by the name of David Dobson up in Friday Harbor, Washington. And he was Milton Erickson's protege, the father of hypnosis. And David took all he learned and expanded on it and created something called OTC, other than conscious communication, OTCC. And it's a real expanded NLP version of communicating. And so I spent some time with him studying. And then from there, I ended up in Lilydale, New York, at a school called the School of Spiritual Healing and Prophecy. And that was run by Fellowships of the Spirit Church. And for 3 years, once a month, a 3-day weekend for 3 years, for me to get fully ordained in the ministry. Every month they trained us. They brought in a different healer and a different medium from all over the world. And we literally dissected everything that these people did, and we broke it down into parts, and then we practiced it, mimicked it, until we did what they did. Mm-hmm. So at the end of 3 years, I walked away with an expanded knowledge and ability on the mediumship abilities of communicating with, entities, loved ones, spirits from the other side for people, as well as hands-on healing techniques. So from there, it kept on going. I started training in the Aquarian Foundation, a mystery school that was headed up by Reverend Keith Milton Reinhardt, who was the most physical, phenomenal, adept trance medium on the planet for about 25 years. And I studied through him, the great ascended masters of Shambhala, and I did that for 15 years. So coming through all of those studies, I sort of had to take a lot of information and make it my own. And what came about was that I wasn't just a medium. I wasn't just a healer. I wasn't just a wise woman, which I tote now, wise woman on tour, because I have long white hair. But I decided that my knowledge and experience was huge. Therefore, I was cosmic. Therefore, I wasn't a life coach. I became a cosmic coach. And I also recognized that when the student is ready, the master appears. Well, most of my students are ready to evolve into masters, and that's where the tag came. I am a master teacher for evolving masters. And so that's in a nutshell where I am. I'm practice my trade every day when I'm not doing my, my money-making trade, which is being a real estate broker. So I'm very well balanced, left and right brain, and it's a wonderful walk through this park, this journey of life we call being a divine being in a human experience on this planet.
You are a busy woman, busy, wise woman.
Yes. So that in a nutshell gives you a little bit of history, which is a lot of history in a very small encapsulated version.
Oh, awesome. Well, I talked Merriam into giving me a session on one of her cosmic journeys, where we went down a bunch of portals, and she guided me into all these different portals and beautiful spaces. And I was able to get into like a alpha or theta state, I'd say.
Well, let's clarify one thing, what
Okay.
we did.
All right.
The Great Ascended Masters have been working with me for about 25 years. And over these years, they keep downloading these tools, these procedures to help people get clear and clean from fears or negative energies that block and limit them. And what we discovered is there's a lot of blocking, limiting negative energies from past lives, as well as your ancestral memory, past lives, your heritage. And then there's blocks and limitations from your current life traumas as well. So what you and I did was part one of the 3-part clearing the crap process that's now been really honed down to a very efficient manner of presenting it to a client. And the clearing of the crap for past lives and ancestral memories is what you and I did. So in that experience, you gained what we would call the ability and the new tool to continue to clear any and all negative memories from your past lives or your ancestors in a very fun and fast and efficient methodology, so that eventually you can be so clean and green, you will be in a total divine alignment, downloading pure inspiration from the source.
I'll tell you, viewers, I highly recommend you give this a try, because I am all about cleaning, and I have the 5 clean masters that came into a dream and clean me all the time. But this was deeper, and I actually saw several of my, what I call simultaneous lives. A lot of us call them past lives. And crazy, like I was a Viking in one, an Indian in one. I was 4 men and 1 woman in these. And boy, my whole issue was betrayal and learning to trust. And 4 out of the 5, I had been betrayed, killed and all that, whipped, And then the 5th one, I actually betrayed someone. That was a woman past life or simultaneous life. So the visions that came in were phenomenal. And you guided me through these portals to other awarenesses in this continuum, space-time continuum, I like to say, to clean this stuff out. So I thank you to the bottom of my heart that I felt so light during it and felt light afterwards. And, I feel cleaner for sure.
Oh, great. And I do want to say that I do very big sessions of clinical hypnosis therapy, wherein working with a person going deep into memories and doing cathartic releases and such. That is not what we did for you. The methodology works for anybody and everybody in a light alpha trance state, because you don't need to even have one inkling of the memories of the exact moments or past lives or your ancestor memories. What we're doing is simply choosing to go to the worst case fear-based negative emotion that's blocking me now. And then you get guided by your master teacher guides. You get guided by your own tummy intuition. And that takes us to this location, which is in the visualization process, which sometimes I call it the Dagwood sandwich. It's not just one past life memory. There can be hundreds of them all around the same subject. And in your case, it was betrayal. And then you are so gifted and so open that you were able to actually see and experience the actual happenings of those past lives, where other times, I say to my clients, don't worry. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to remember anything. We're just there, and the memories will, you're other than conscious. We don't say subconscious here. We say other than conscious, which is the sense of consciousness that really runs your boat, 95% of it. Okay, that other than conscious part of you will bring in everything that's related to that one fear. And that we've all had hundreds of lives or thousands of lives. So your Dagwood sandwich could be, 5 feet tall with all of these memories. And the great part about this methodology is it's just boom, boom, boom. Clear them all at the same time, and then step out with a smile on your face. And so that's what I wanted to share, that it's really an easy method, a fun method, and most importantly, fast, and efficient.
I was wondering, Merriam, a little later in this broadcast, if we could do maybe an abbreviated sample for the viewers to show what you do. Maybe what we did for me, but like maybe a couple breaths and then just going quickly through the portals, just to experiment. And this would be live and exciting, and I think it would show the viewers what's potentially possible, because it is about teaching people to clean themselves. And what is so beautiful about your practice is people can listen to the recording that you give us and practice this on a daily basis on their own. I think, though, it's so important to have a co-creator in some respects to do it with, though, because I seem to get deeper that way. I don't know about anybody else, but when I have a co-creator and someone guiding me through it, I really feel it works a lot better. And getting to the clean, getting clean, 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 you know, we hear about body, mind, spirit, soul. When you do this modality, and when you did it with me, what's getting clean? Is it aspects of me that have to do with the body, mind, spirit, and soul? Or do you have any thoughts on that?
I do. One of the things I've learned in my studies is that when we think of body, minds, mind, body, spirit, all right, I immediately see that like as a triangle. Okay. And mind, body, spirit, we need to understand that negative energy blocks or limitations can come in through the mind, the mental body. It could have been a mental energy experience, or it can come through the physical body, a physical body experience, or it can come through the emotional body experience, which I put on the third point, and then spirit I put in the center of the triangle. And it can come also from, just the repetition of incarnations. And so the entrance point of where that started or where that created, but it doesn't really matter. It can come from any of those entrance points. The key to understand is, though, that it's been duplicated and multiplied over and over and over again, because until we are clear from the fear, we will keep attracting it to learn the lesson. Our goal is always, always, always to be able to walk and talk in full divine alignment, to be in a torrid love affair with Source without any delays, any limits, any obstructions. The one book out by Joe Vitale is called Zero Limits. I like that, Zero Limits, because we have the potential of being our full self co-creator then. So when these memories are in, sometimes we run the whole triangle and spirit as well, body, mind, emotions, and spirit. And we've got memories that come in from all those directions. So the beautiful part about the system is that we don't have to get so particular to the details. We don't have to know when it happened. We don't have to know exactly what happened. We just need to know that it's behind one of these doors.
Yeah.
And we're going to go in there and we're going to discover whether it's one memory or 100 memories. And we're just going to okay, you guys, I'm getting rid of you now. And basically, we never get rid of the memories. What we're doing is transmuting the negative side of the energies into neutral, so that the negative side of the energies are transmuted into neutral, so that they don't have a limiting impact. The great ascended masters teach us this. Life is about being like a pendulum, and we're in the neutral zone. Okay, now when you get upset, you go, okay, a little bit 5 degrees upset, then you come back to neutral. Okay, if you're really happy and joyful, okay, we go a little 5 degrees to the other side to happy and joyful and come back to neutral. The tendency of our human experience is like when we get sad, we go, whoa, it's 90 degrees to one side. When we get happy, whoa, it's 90 degrees to the other side. Our pendulum is flying around like a witch on a broom. It's, just woohoo, And so the idea of mastery is to get into that neutral zone, because the master teachers say, listen, everything that happens to you, every experience that you draw to yourself is neutral. It is only your reaction to it that gives it the energy of it's bad or it's good.
So if I clean myself from all betrayal reactions, I just
Yes.
didn't perceive it anymore, then any story coming in, I wouldn't perceive it as a betrayal story because I would have cleaned myself completely from that.
Yes, you're getting it. Yes, exactly. When it comes in, you're in the neutral zone. You stand outside yourself as the observer. Okay, you're watching it come in. You're in the neutral zone and you recognize, like, okay, let's give you an example. I used to stand in this spot and I used to see this story as a betrayal. Now I'm going to walk around 180 degrees to the other side of this story and look at it from there, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, that's not a betrayal, that's just an experience in the universe and I'm learning from it. Okay, so it's new paradigm shifting and things of this nature, but definitely when you get these negative fear-based emotions neutralized, I will share something with you I did not share with you in your session. Are you ready?
Yes.
When you get neutral, when you get all these blocks, limitations from past lives, from your ancestors, from your current life traumas, when you get to the 0 point, when you get to the neutral zone, you can use the same methodology to go back in and gather your gifts, your abilities when you were in a higher dimensional. When you were in a higher dimension, when you're a higher conscious being already, you're here because you've got a job jar going on, but you were probably already an ascended being. Okay, so when you're clear, it's so easy to go back in and say, okay, I want now my gifts from all of those lifetimes to come forward, my knowledge, my wisdom, my abilities, and it comes through, just with such glory and such joy and such love and everything, and your mind begins to awaken, your body begins to awaken, your everything begins to awaken, and it's like, I am divine. And you get that knowledge from the inside out that you are a divine being, and that you just, there's a saying I use, if I get this right, when we come in an incarnation, we forget our gifts. So what this does is allow you to forget to remember.
I love it. I love it.
Okay. All right. So all of a sudden, there's nothing, that we're forgetting, we're remembering. And that's when, like you and other people that I've helped, all of a sudden they remember their past lifetime experiences, and they remember how many millions of years old or even billions of years old they are. And they remember their lifetimes on other planets and as beings of a different form, sometimes other than humans. So it is a progression, and it doesn't happen, of course, overnight unless you're, just have a epiphany blast off experience that just eradicates all the negative energies and opens you up. But you might disintegrate at the same time if all that happened at once. That would be a big boom.
It's a lot to integrate all at once, isn't it? A lot to clean and a lot to integrate all at once. So I guess that's why the teacher is there when we're ready.
Yes.
And we don't sign up for any gig we're not ready for.
Well, originally this whole clearing the crap, part 1, 2, and 3 was like a 36-hour boot camp. So now we're down to 3 sessions of about, 10 hours, if you do all 3 sessions, but you do have your homework to continue to do it afterwards. So it's like so efficient now, and it's so functional now. And tell your viewers, did you have fun?
I had a blast. I mean, it sure beats fretting about the future, worrying about the future and sorry about the past. You're just cleaning everything out of your closet. And you feel so much better afterwards. Yeah, and it was fun. I mean, Merriam, you always make it fun. So, what was maybe one of your, not to share any secrets from anyone, but can you relay any huge client experience that rocked your boat kind of thing, or maybe something that you've experienced that rocked your boat, some out of body or revelation or remembering experience?
Well, one of my clients, who's a very dear, special, close friend, and uh, you had an issue of betrayal for this person in their lifetime. It was the issue of abandonment. And so just very quickly, moving through this process and discovering, the potential points where this began and how many times it repeated itself and such like that. And then to do the simplest thing, I asked that person, please give yourself permission to now let it go and release it. The idea of giving themselves permission was an unheard of or unknown commodity. As soon as I was able to share that, give yourself permission to release and let it go. Let's give yourself permission, like in your case, to use the violet flame to, create Viking funeral barges, with the flame. But the point being is that just that alone was a cathartic release beyond belief, which shifted his love partner relationship, which shifted his whole life experience. It shifted who he thought he was, and now who he's discovering who he is. It shifted him into being reclusive to being, are you ready, on stage in an opera. So I mean, I saw this. He stepped on this speed train afterwards and went zoom, into the higher conscious living life. And then I had another experience. This gal, we did Clearing the Crap session 1 of past lives and ancestral lives, and which we'll talk about. It's a walkway with doors, and each door represents a whole bunch of these, lifetimes that relate around a certain fear-based emotion. And so she started doing it and doing it and doing it. And as I said, the more you do it, the faster you go, because you work on the worst ones first. And so then after a while, the other fears get real quick. You can do 5 or 6 at a time. Let's do it. Let's hit a big one today, 5 or 6 of them. And it was so funny, and I think I mentioned this to you. I get this phone call. Hi, I'm not sure I'm doing this right anymore. I said, what's up? She says, well, I'm on the walkway, and there's no more doors. I started laughing, and I said, you go, girl. And she said, what do you mean? I said, you cleared them all. There's no more doors to clear. Congratulations. Now let's move on to the current life, situations. And then when we get that cleared, then you can go back and we will ask for the doors with the gifts. Well, the same thing happened where she was just like so shy and so insecure and so like no confidence and so like, I don't know about this stuff and everything. You should see her today. She's like a shining star. She's brilliant. She's sharing. She's healing. She's communicating. She's teaching. And all that happened in like, I don't know, 4 months.
Oh,
I mean,
Miriam. This is outstanding. I mean, this is Metamorphosis City.
It is the butterfly and the the caterpillar,
the
cocoon coming out as the butterfly, and it's. And the great part about it is each client's in charge of their own timing.
Yeah.
This gal, she moved through that past life stuff like in a month. Woohoo!
Wow.
And so it's all about, how fast you want to go. When I learned this stuff and when I did it myself, I like fast and efficient. I'm a, go A personality girl, and, learn it, integrate it and do it, that type of thing. And so I wanted to make sure that it could go that fast for the people who like me, like speed.
Like done yesterday.
Oh yeah. I got this t-shirt, been there, done that, worn this t-shirt in every universe, in every, on every planetary system. Oh yeah, got all those T-shirts back here to clean up this mess.
Right. Wow. I want to be, I want to have what that gal had, with the no doors. I had so many doors.
I know it, but the like it's just a matter of your choice. And I just decided that I was so tired with all the learning that I did, all the studying that I did, all of the hours and the money and the time and everything involved in studying to become at the level of mastery that I am. In all of that, it was a terrible struggle, going through, clearing the old depression energies and old fear-based energies of that I'm not good enough in, fear-based energies of competing with men, and fear-based energies, that I can't create an income, and fear-based that, oh my God, girl, I had a whole arm's length list of these fears to clear from,
Yeah.
and from the days when I had poverty, what do you call oaths that I took when I was a monk or a nun, and so I had these old oaths saying, oh no, you can't earn money, you have to be poverty with no money. I had to clear those.
Oh, wow.
And it just and in order for me to be okay to create and attract money into my life. So when you look at, like, one lady came to the boot camp one time just for the current life traumas. She was 61 years old. She had 47 current life traumas to clear.
Oh.
And that's like, she had a lot of incidences of abuse and things in her life, but she was determined to get them done and over with, and that's how I was with all those past life stuff. There was a teacher I had in Lilydale at the School of Spiritual Healing and Prophecy from the Fellowships of the Spirit Church. And I was so new. And we went out to the stump. The stump in Lilydale is where, it's a big communication with spirit area. It's a big vortex. It's an open portal to beings on the other side. So we went out there, and it was a full moon night, and I said, oh, please, 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 I'm new at this. Please tell me about my past life or lives. I'm thinking I had a couple. In about 10 seconds, he starts laughing so hard and so loud, he was doubled over, tears rolling down his eyes. And I started to go, you're laughing at me? You're laughing at my past lives. I was shattered.
Oh.
And then he goes, no, it's okay. It's okay. I said, well, tell me about my past lives. And he says, girlfriend, he says, when you pass through the death experience, he says, you only stay long enough in the spirit world to put on a clean pair of underwear before you jump back into another lifetime and body again.
Yeah.
He says, we're talking thousands. And of course, what I learned was most of my lives were very young when I expired.
Oh, okay.
So this is my oldest lifetime in a long time.
Oh.
Other than when I was, on other planets or in Egypt when I was much, older then. But
we don't get enough time to get wise if we die early.
That's the thing. And in fact, that's the message that Adamus from Telos and Mikos from the Hollow Earth, they both say that the advantage of living for thousands of years is we have lots of time to hone our skills and remember the truth of who we are, and a time then to clear and clean ourselves, and so that we can focus on immortality, so that we can focus on
our gifts.
We are already masters.
Yeah, that if we clean ourselves, then we can start exploring our gifts. Exactly. Is what you're saying is in the second session.
Yes, okay. Exactly. And so that's if you try to explore gifts when you still have these fears coming up. Remember, I mentioned to you the amygdala gland in the back of your head acts like a Google search engine. Yeah. You bring up one word like poverty, and mine used to go Google search and come up with 1,000 lifetimes of oath-driven poverty, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get where I can be abundant and prosperous if I've got all these old oaths that I got in my heritage? So, this amygdala basically, we're the whole process of clearing the crap, finally clearing, it cleans the search engine. So when it goes to search, there's nothing negative there anymore. It's
Ah, I
neutralized.
love that analogy because we
Yeah.
all understand computers and our brain is like a computer.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
So when your amygdala goes to search and it says, okay, whether it's poverty or betrayal or abandonment or whatever, then when everything's neutralized, it's just like that pendulum's right there in the neutral zone. Nothing there. Would you like to explore the good stuff? I see a lot of that left.
Yeah, and that opens up my ability to trust, which I
Yeah.
realized was for me the opposite of betrayal, being
Yeah.
able to trust. Now, how does discernment fit into that? Because if I discern that someone is, I'm still got layers of the betrayal, let's say, and I'm not completely clean. So
Uh,
rather than trust blindly, if I'm picking something up intuitively, at this point, or I trust my intuition and I don't enter into that relationship.
well, let's go back to one of your favorite words, allow.
Okay.
Okay. And every single storyline or experience that we are, drawing to ourselves minute by minute while we're going through this human experience journey. All right. Every single one of them, we look at the other person, and if you know this, okay, that person is you, and they are you and you are them. And so it's like, all right, so this is my teacher standing in front of me. Now, couple of things. Number one, you learn to allow their personality, their actions, their verbalization, the whole characteristic of them. You allow that with the concept of the words. First of all, they're doing the very best they can with the information and ability they currently have. Number one, okay? They may not be at the same level you're at. They may be at the kindergarten level and you're at the high school level. You can't expect them to act like you. So you just say they're just doing the very best they can with the information and abilities they currently have. Number one. Number two, they are your teacher mirroring to you if something bothers you about what they're saying or doing or expressing or verbalizing or acting upon. If any part of that bothers you, it is one of your fears, one of your blocks, one of your limitations that needs to be cleared. It's you who needs to do it for you. So when people point that finger at that other person and goes, they've betrayed me, look, there's three fingers pointing back at
Oh,
you.
that's a good analogy. Yeah.
One, two, three. Okay, that says, wait a minute, look here. It's inside me. If
Right.
it bothers me, then I need to clear it in me.
Right.
And of course, the great Dr. Hewlin from Ho'oponopono teaches that. It's that the gift of, recognizing this is 100% responsibility. My brother and I, my sister and I are one. We're the same person. So whatever they're thinking or saying or doing, I need to take responsibility for, and I clear it in myself. And the most amazing thing that happens is as I clear it in me, it starts to clear in the other person.
I've noticed that magic, but let's get back to
Yes.
your burning coal fire, the burning coals that you walked on. I
Yes.
use not burning coals, but I use a burning forest fire as an example. But let's use your burning coal fire thing. I still have the fear that my feet are going to get burned. And I
Mm-hmm.
admire you for being able to visualize it as moss and you didn't get burned. I just love that. And so let's think about that analogy, or even a car coming at you. In this realm, I'm still have layers of fear that will manifest itself because of the
Mm-hmm.
layers of fear I haven't cleaned.
Yep.
So I might get my feet burned, or I might get hit by the car if I don't get out of the way. So if I run into a person that I'm picking up reflected back to me issues that I need to clean, but they're betrayal issues, if I haven't cleaned enough, I know better to get out of the burning fire or not walk on the coals or not enter into a relationship that I perceive will play out this certain way because I haven't cleaned. So how do we reconcile that? I mean, like, I'm not about to go into a gig I'm not ready for, let's say. You know, if I'm ready and I'm completely clean, then I'm not going to get burned or I'm not going to get betrayed. I realize that. Or hit by the car. But I'm still in this realm where if I eat too much arsenic, I'm going to get killed. So I prefer organic blueberries. So how do we reconcile that, Merriam? I agree with everything, and I teach exactly what you're saying. I take responsibility. I say, oh, that's interesting. I just created that. Because I know on some higher level, I've created that story, and that the teacher that I view as a villain that's betrayed me is really a blessing to me because it's reflecting back those aspects that I'm ready to start cleaning. But if I'm not ready, I need to walk away, right?
Yes. Well, there's two things. Okay. Yes. As soon as you recognize that you are feeling a fear,
right,
it is absolutely good and best to get out of the energy zone of that from the other person.
Unless we can clean it right there on the spot, which I've been able to do on some occasions if it's not like a car coming at me.
Yes. Well, that's where, you know, that neutral zone comes in.
Right.
The way that I've learned to handle a lot of this is taking it up to the bigger picture, always the bigger picture of everything. There's a master teaching that says you only have one relationship. Everything else is secondary and tertiary to the one relationship. And I used to think of it like a big tree. The trunk portion is our relationship with the all one, the source, the all everything, divine, you know, essence being or divine essence of energy. The creator of all. So that's our trunk. Then all the branches are our secondary and tertiary relationships. So there's one of the tools that I share with people, and I wear this to remind myself. You can see this is an Xfinity symbol, except it's vertical. It looks like a figure 8 when it's vertical. Okay, and what I try to, how's the word I want to say? I sort of stress this part as the beginning of the bigger picture for everything. If you think of the Xfinity symbol, there are 4 what I call commandments. Your first one going up, and it could be your left, your right, whichever you discern is comfortable for you. But from the cross point, I go up, and that is my love relationship with source. So I say, I love God, I love source, I love the creator, I love the one being. And I really feel that essence. I really experience that. Coming around from the top, that first next loop down, the second commandment is loving yourself. But how do you do that? You have to open your heart, open your mind, body, soul to receiving the love from source, receiving God's love. Okay. And a lot of us go through all sorts of things. Oh, I'm not worthy. And who am I? And I'm a sinner. You know, it's like really like opening yourself up and saying, I'm worthy and I'm going to receive this love. So that creates this beautiful romantic love affair between you and source. Then the third commandment goes down where you're going into Mother Earth and you're grounding yourself. Feet on the ground, you're putting those roots into Mother Earth, Gaia, Pachamama, and you're saying, okay, I anchor myself into your strength, your beauty, your wonder, your coolness of all, and the knowledge of the truth of who you are and who I am. And then the fourth loop coming up, the fourth commandment, that's when we help other people, we serve other people, we give to other people. So what I say to you is that when you're confronted with someone who's triggering a negative energy, fear in you, unless you are ready to finish that loop and help them, you need to go to commandment 1, 2, and 3, or the first 3 loops before you go back to help that person. Okay. And that's really the key. Because if we don't get them in the right order, then we're in trouble. So that's for every single fear that comes up, every single relationship that comes up. So the one and only relationship is that upper loop with you and Source. Then the larger branches is Mother Earth, and then the little tributary branches, that's all the other relationships in your life. If you keep those in the right order, your whole life changes. Everything changes.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to utilize that.
Okay. All right. So that's what I'm saying is that, yes, as you're growing and learning and growing and learning, if something's triggered, you need to get alone. You need to get, so you can go within. You need to follow, the infinity loop cycle. You need to get staunch, secure, strong in your relationship with Source and Mother Earth. When you got that, bring it on. Anybody can stand in front of you and blah, 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 blah. And you're just going to go, I know who I am. I'm a divine being and human experience. Thank you, and you're okay then.
And the ascended masters, you would think, are at that point, right? Do you know anyone on Earth that's a mere human that is close to that?
Well, I consider myself to be pretty darn close to it, because I let's just say I work it every day, every minute.
And that's the key that you've stated before, is it's important to work it every day, every minute, every moment.
Yeah, that's why I picked up this ring, so that it just reminds me, am I in doing commandment 1, 2, and 3 before I do 4?
Yeah. I love all your analogies and, the huge amount of teachings that you've studied and classes you've taken and courses and degrees. I mean, obviously that's helped you assimilate and integrate all those things into your brain and come up with your own style, which is really unique and simplified. And like you said, all those months and months of protocol has been narrowed down to 3 sessions. Which is, it could take years and years of therapy to get anywhere near what these people have achieved, going from being shy to out there on the internet or an opera singer or whatever.
Amazing shooting stars now, So that's just an example that the possibility is completely there for everyone to experience their awakening. Right. Their unveiling of the truth of who they are. Right. And it's just, we are, when it's getting to that point to forget to remember. In order to forget to remember, we've got to clean and clear. That's it. It's a big, important thing. Yeah.
Oh, I know it's worked for me, and it worked for me the other day when we were together on that. Are there any, highlights of, kind of an abbreviated example that we can give the viewers of what you do? Maybe not get deep into anything or actually get to the cleaning stage, but to show a sample of what you do for viewers, and I could be the guinea pig on that if you'd like.
All right. Well, let's just say that if we can, we won't do much with the breathing, right. And we'll just start with the visualization of going down the stairs and through the crystal garden into the clear garden opening, and then onto the moving walkway. And then, do you want me to stop at the door, or do you want me to actually go through that experience?
Well, I was thinking if we could do it like whatever 10 minutes would do, and I'll do my best to get into, I know that's a quickie, but I did a little teaser at the beginning, and I really want the viewers to see your talents and gifts in this respect. And I know it's a little challenging, but I think maybe if I can get into a deep state, we can do it. Let's just go for it. We'll see.
All right. It may be 15 minutes, not
okay.
10. But,
all right. We'll do it.
All right. Now, for all the viewers, we taught each other conscious diaphragmatic breathing, so she knows how to do that. It's in through the nose, hold, and out through the mouth, and a couple of NLP anchors to trigger moving your beta waves into an alpha trance wave very quickly. And as she's doing that, I'm going to say you're standing in front of a beautiful flight of stairs going down. These are white alabaster stairs, and there's a golden handrail you're going to hang on to, and we're going to go down those stairs. I'm going to count 10 down to 1. Number 10, 9, 8, going down 7, 6, deeper down 5, 4, 3, deeper down 2, 1. Now you're feeling very relaxed. And walk over in front of you are 2 large golden doors that automatically open, revealing as you cross over the threshold into a beautiful garden. It has a winding walkway, except this garden is full of crystals, 4 feet wide on either side, of every shape, size, and color, undulating in their beautiful colors, like pumping out those vibrations of those colors, every color of the rainbow. And as you walk down this curving pathway through the crystal garden, your body begins to feel so light, so just almost like you are weightless with no feet on the ground. And then before you is a clearing. And when you get to the clearing, you'll allow your 5 senses to experience the beautiful sunshine weather, the trees, the birds, the butterflies, the pool of water trickling that's encased by beautiful ancient stones. And then you find your way to the golden bench that's big enough for 3 people, and you sit down in the middle. And then you say, all right, now it's time to protect myself. So you call forth now the white fire and the violet flame to really bathe you, come down through your crown chakra, fill the inside and all around you, so you're in a bubble of beautiful God's golden white light. And now you call forth the silver shield from Master Hilarion and Archangel Michael's sword, and that shield surrounds that golden bubble, and it's impenetrable to anything other than God and good. And then you call forth the sacred violet flame to embrace that shield, and that flame transmutes all negative energies back into pure love and light and returns them unto the senders as such. Now you are secure and safe in your bubble. You are floating in that golden light. You are protected. You are embraced in violet flame. So call now 2 masters to come and help guide you through this event. Call upon 2 masters now to come and be with you, no matter what shape or size or who they are. 2 will show up, and as they do, they come and sit with you on the bench. And together you say, let us now go and discover a past life experience or 2 or 3 or 4, and also ancestral experience memories that relate to one certain fear, one that is the most difficult, the most prominent fear now. We want to go to the toughest, most terrible fear that still pervades and blocks and limits us. So all together, the 3 of you stand up, and in front of you is this beautiful, wide walkway, a moving walkway like in the airports. And the 3 of you abreast head down the walkway as it moves. And on either side, both sides, are doors. The doors can be all different colors. They can all be black and white. They can be bling, bling, sparkly. Makes no difference. But you're going to ask your other than conscious and your higher self, please now help me choose a door where the worst case fear base is there. From all the lifetimes of my ancestors, let me now discover the door to stop in front of. And you might even discover that the walkway goes backwards in order to get to that door. And if you need help, you just ask your master teachers, and they'll choose a door for you. And as the walkway stops in front of a door, the masters open it, and the three of you walk through, discovering that you're on a beautiful boardwalk at the beach. How lovely. And you go to the edge of the boardwalk, and there's these big piers holding up the boardwalk, and you see these huge ropes overlapping the piers, the posts. There's ropes on all of these posts that are tethered and tied to these ships or boats or whatever that are out on the water. And there might be one boat, or there could be 50 boats. And they could be everything from a canoe to a cruise ship. They could be in the shape of animals. It makes no difference. But allow yourself to discover all of these vessels on the water that relate to that fear. Over and over and over, from past lives or ancestral lives, they all relate to that same fear, all bunched in there together, sitting there on the water, tethered by a rope to the pier posts. Now your master teachers say, here, we've got this instantaneous, voila, beam it down, Scotty, toolbox here, so that you can cut these ropes if you choose. There's all sorts of laser light swords, and there's a scythe, and there's an axe, and there's a chainsaw. There's even really sharp pinking shears that you can cut these ropes with. Or you can just go over and lift them gently off the post and let them drop into the sand. So go ahead now. Go over, choose your weapon if you want to have some fun, or just lift off the ropes and drop them all onto the sand. If there's 1, if there's 10 or 20, you're going to be able to do this very, very quickly. And if you're cutting them or slashing them, you're going to do that very quickly as well. And as the ropes are cut or dropped into the sand, you'll begin to see these vessels on the water start moving out to the sunset, to the edge of the sunset and the sea. And they're drifting out, they're drifting out. There might be 1 or there might be 100, but they're all now released and drifting out on the water, starting to go away from you and the shoreline. So now the master teachers say, okay, it's time to call in the beautiful sacred violet flame cosmic balls of fire so that they can transmute these negative memory energies into nothingness, transmute into neutral. So now, we call forth the sacred violet flame cosmic balls of fire, now, to come fly, and land on each one of those vessels, and if necessary, 2 or 3 per vessel. And they now fly through the air, and they land on those vessels, kaboom, 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 boom, 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 boom. And now the fires begin, like a Viking funeral, to consume the vessel on the water. And as they're still floating out away from you, some of them are already sinking below the water, and others are slowly sinking. And eventually, with all the balls of the violet flame, they all fiery sink into the water, into nothingness. The water of Mother Earth now cools and cleanses them and accepts them in her bosom in the state of neutral, no longer affecting you in any way. And so the great ascended masters now say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's put our tools away. Let's walk back to the door. And before we do, turn around and say, namaste, negative memories, namaste. I love you, and I thank you for helping me to become who I am today. Namaste. And you walk through the door and back onto the walkway, and the walkway moves back to the opening in the garden area. You sit down on the bench and telepathically communicate with your masters, give them great kudos for helping you. Thank them profusely as they tell you, anytime you come to this garden and call us, we will be here. Or one of our brethren will. We have a lot of masters to choose from. And you thank them and they say goodbye and they disappear. You now stand to go back through the crystal garden, winding your way. And as you slowly walk, your body starts to feel more dense and more heavy, your feet on the ground. And as you come to the end of the walkway and cross over the threshold of the golden doors, you are fully physical one more time as the golden doors close behind you. So I'm going to bring you back up those stairs now, counting from 1 to 10 to make sure we get you feeling good and back in your body. Start with the first step. Your hand is on the rail. Number 1, number 2, number 3, coming on up, number 4, number 5, feeling good. Number 6, really good. Number 7, feeling awesome. Number 8, feeling so clear. Number 9, relaxed and feeling great. Number 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Come back, back, back. Stretch your arms, stretch your body, move your body, stomp your feet, do whatever you need to return. Boy, that was a record.
Oh, I'll tell you what, I was so in it. I have to tell you, people that are watching, this stuff works. And can I share just a couple things? I just was so surprised. Please. So since I did the expedited breathing, I didn't even state an intention as to what I wanted to clean, but dying came in. I didn't think I had any issues with dying. Okay. Oh, my Lordy. And so when I got to the pier, and first of all, the doors, I saw all these colors of doors, both sides, where before it was a bunch of gray doors and then one big yellow door that I went in. Well, this time there were every color of the rainbow doors on both sides, but the door that stuck out was on the right, and it was black and white checkerboard.
Oh, okay.
It was like crazy. I walked through that, then, I went to the pier. And girl, honey, it's like we've had so many past lives. So I guess everything that, we've chosen ways to die under the rainbow, anything imaginable, right? So I saw
and usually pretty gruesome.
These ones were all gruesome. I was hung. I was decapitated in a guillotine. I was shot in the heart numerous times. I drowned. I was in a fire, burned up. I mean, it was like all over the map, and it was like boom, 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 boom. Okay. I had no idea that I needed a lot of cleaning around that. Thank you. Okay. This works, people. Okay. Yay!
Yeah. All right. So good. And so you see how quickly, once you get the hang of this, Now, in the initial visualization that I do with people that's recorded, there's a lot of details, and every detail means something and counts for something. Right. There isn't one detail in the whole process that isn't part of the importance of having it function and work. So, it's just, that's why when I do it, I'm totally guided because I'm doing it right off the cuff, and I've got these guides really making sure I don't miss a trick.
You are so talented. I am telling you, people, this works. This is not a fakery here. I am feeling, and you can tell my cat had to come, even though she can't hear anything because we've got our mics on. Yeah. She was on my lap earlier, but she could tell the energy shifted. Yeah. She wanted to be right up. Yeah. They know, don't they?
Yeah. And, that dying, of course, is one of probably the number one fear other than public speaking and, that type of thing. But dying, it just affects everyone. Yeah. And it's because, like, oh my God, every type of death experience, like you mentioned, and 100,000 more. I mean, if there's create a different way to die, you and I have been through it, and so have they. Anybody that's listening. Yeah. So especially if we are, we're here as light workers, we've got a job to do to help awaken humanity. You can better believe that dying fear is one that needs clearing and cleaning.
Yeah, I remember back in 2003, in December of 2003, when my mom crossed over, I was with her when she died, actually, and that was a beautiful experience. But a few days before that, she was in intensive care, and the doctor, she was a nurse, and the doctor came in and said, Mary Lou, you know you're dying. And I was the only one with her because they can only allow one person at a time in there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can't believe he was so blunt to her, but I guess that's what doctors and nurses, how they talk.
Yep.
And I was holding her hand, and she said, yes, doctor, I know, and I'm scared to death. And I'm like, oh, no. I was like, she's scared to death to die.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll share my mother's experience with you and my aunt's, and I'll do this as quickly as I can because I trained both my mother and my aunt. Now, my aunt had 20 years of training. My mother only had about 5. When my mother had a stroke for 18 months, it was a real bad situation. And finally, one day, she wasn't going to eat or drink anymore, and I honored that. Yeah. But during that whole process, I said, Mom, as you start this process, you're going to slip into a coma, and then you're probably, I'm going to start calling in the relatives from the other side and the angels and everything. And then, you have nothing to fear because they're going to be there to help you and guide you across the veil, and everything will be beautiful and wonderful. You'll be able to release all of your suffering and your mishaps and disease and all that. It's all going to go away. You're going to be free of all that. And it's going to be just awesome and wonderful in what we call the heavenly realm, the angelic realm, the 5th dimension. So what happened was, I'm there the last 48 hours with my mom. She'd been in coma 2 weeks. And they said, oh, it won't be long now. Well, right around the 12th hour, all of a sudden, from a coma, my mother sits straight up in the bed, eyes wide open, going, and then lays back down.
No.
Well, holy moly, I was like shocked out of my pants, ran out and asked the nurse, and they said, oh, sometimes that happens. And this nurse was spiritual. She says, when the families from the other side are coming, they will actually show you that they're connecting. I went, oh, thank God that's all that is. Okay, I'm cool now. All right. So then it was around the 4 hours before her death, she did it again. Sat right up. And this time I was ready. And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's grandma, there's your sister, there's, your dad, your mom. Oh, everybody's coming. That's great. Oh, yeah. And I was doing the cheerleading dance for my mom by that point. Yeah, baby, they're coming. This is going to be an easy crossover. And then she did it 1 hour. I get 3 times. Up again, eyes wide open. How about talking to them? I'm
so
going,
cool.
oh, this is good. This is really, really good, right? So then she passed so beautifully. And it was on Christmas morning at 11:11. So we know the angels were there. And I called my sister, and Christmas morning is tradition. You get up, you have coffee, you open presents, then you have Cinnabons and scrambled eggs. It's a traditional breakfast, and then you do the dishes. So I called my sister. I said, well, Mom passed at 11:11. She says, isn't that just like her? She waited until the Christmas morning dishes were done.
But 11:11, she went through a huge portal, and on Christmas Day, the energies. Oh my gosh, a beautiful light portal.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a great story for my mom. Now, my aunt, her youngest sister, which came to Florida with me, she was trained for 20 years. She used to come to Aquarian Foundation. She would come to our seances. She would come to, healing work. She was like very knowledgeable. So she was in an assisted living facility, and I always said, now, Aunt Ruth, I know you're on 26 pills a day. I know your body hurts. When you're ready to go home to God, you make the choice. You can do it like the Native American women. You could just, they go sit down under a tree and they say, body shut down. I'm going home to God. So I said, when you're ready, I will help you do that. So she had already, believe it or not, graduated from hospice twice. So we actually had the bed reserved at hospice for when she was ready. So one day she just said to me, okay, it's my time. I'm going home. She says, call hospice. And she says, from that point on, she never drank. She never ate. From that moment on, never took a pill. For the first 3.5 to 4 days, she said goodbye to everybody on the phone, in person, fully cognizant, everything, never ate or drank, slipped into her coma. And then on day 7, almost to the hour, I felt it. I called the nurse. I say, okay, go in, scrub her up, clean her up, then take some Diet Pepsi with a sponge and wipe it inside on her tongue and her mouth. And the nurse says, what? I said, she's ready to go, and I want her clean and with a sweet taste in her mouth. Oh. So that's what the nurse did. I got over to hospice. As I walk in, and she says, she's all clean. And when I did that sponge, she smiled at me. Oh. I said, you got that right. You got that right. Oh. So I walked into the room, and I said, good, you're clean. You got sweetness in your mouth. You're set to go. I'm with you. Took her last breath and passed. Yeah. Now, we know how adept she was. So 3 months later, a local medium who's very famous now, has books and tapes and travels all over, Joseph Labruto III. He's wonderful here in Florida. Anyway, so he was doing an event of which I was assisting, and I was just like his little protector battery person on the side of the stage, because he was in his new experiences then of being a trance medium. And so he helped everybody communicate with their loved ones. There was like 30 people in the audience. So he's finishing up, and the entity says, well, I have to go because Joseph needs to come back. But the entity turns to me. Now, I have a tag that says MJ. Everyone knew me as MJ. Turns to me, and he goes, Merriam? And I said, yes, master. And he goes, your Aunt Ruthie is here. And I said, oh, it's only been 3 months. Oh, rah. Good for Aunt Ruth. And he goes, and she wants you to know she found Blue Eyes, and they're out dancing. Now, here is the story. She had Bobby Blue Eyes, an Irish cop. They were lovers and friends for 36 years. And before she passed, she says, as soon as I get to the other side, I'm going to find that Bobby Blue Eyes, and we're going out dancing and drinking. Well, that message came through 3 months later. And she actually said, I found Blue Eyes, and I'm out dancing and drinking with him. I was just like stunned. So, having that experience of the death transition, I tell that story because I want people to know that you don't die. You're just crossing over to another energy zone, another vibration frequency level. Yeah. And, the other side is great. And so since then, my aunt found my mother, and they came through another medium, the Manhattan medium, Thomas John. And they chased me around the room that night, and finally he called out. He said, Ruth, Agnes, Binghamton, Annie. Annie was my mother's nickname that the grandkids called her. So he called out my aunt's name, my mother's name, her nickname, and our hometown.
That's crazy. To
tell us that Aunt Ruthie found her. They're both having fun. Everything's great. It took my mother 20 years to come back.
Wow.
It took my aunt 3 months.
Wow.
But my mom had a lot to let go of from the stroke.
Yeah.
So, but the point was, the end result was they were kicking butt with the fun game, having a good time. So I just want everyone to know those truths, because there's absolutely nothing to fear about the transition we know of as death. And if you have that paradigm, if you have that new consciousness of it, that when my mom passed, we did an Irish wake. We celebrated everybody. My sister and I roasted her like a Dean Martin roast. Everybody in the service was doubled over, laughing, falling on the floor, holding their gut from laughing. So it is a celebration.
It is, and that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
that you did that. You were able to do that, and I didn't have any of that understanding or knowledge back in 2003. However, I did have intuitive messages coming in, even though I was blocked in a lot of ways as opposed to now. So when I was with my mom before she died, I was leaning over, and she couldn't really talk because she was kind of in and out of a coma. But she'd gotten the sacred rites twice from the Catholic priest, and was telling the nurses a lot of things that they would reveal to me about how worried she was and scared or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I leaned over, and what just came out without me even realizing it when we were alone together I think my dad was in the room because he was there all the time too. I said, Mom, you're not leaving us. You're only going ahead of us. We're right behind you.
Nice.
And I didn't know where that came from, but I could tell. She went, she just seemed much more relaxed. And then that expedited her ability to get, to cross over, because she was really hanging on and didn't want to leave.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, it's great, and I see that as soon as you can give some of this knowledge and wisdom or expressions to people who are about to pass through the death experience, it's very helpful, and assure them they'll have people guiding them and waiting for them, and assure them that all their suffering, they can get rid of it pretty quickly, and then go play. And Thomas John said, they're looking like they're about 30 years old. And I said, yeah. They were both very hot then.
Oh, so cool. Yes, we could go on and on about this. However, I think our time is getting close to wrapping up here. And I know that you have so much more to share. And maybe we can do another interview down the road, because I know you've got a lot of tools in your toolbox that you share with people. Like, for example, I'm just going to read this real quickly because I wrote it down. If someone's pushing thoughts on you, you say, hey, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. And I'm going to give it some consideration. I think that's so awesomely wise. Yeah. What can you sum up here maybe as a takeaway to leave our listeners with today, Merriam?
I think the most important thing that I want people to know at this time, it's been out there for eons of time as the most important thing, but now more than ever, it's the most important thing. And that's to pay attention to your thinking. Stinking thinking is not going to make it here. Every single thought, goes out, creates some kind of manifestation into the reality, comes back and affects you as well. So the thought process is a key ingredient to monitor every single thought that turns into words out of your mouth, especially. Abraham Hicks says you got 17 seconds to grab a bad expression or thought, pull it back, cleanse it, violet flame it, and then spew out a good affirmation to correct it. So it's just really key. I can only tell you that every single negative thought, when you're listening to the news, when you're watching the TV, reading the newspaper, oh my God, you get caught up in the soap opera of it. The masters will tell you that the earth plane is a soap opera. Step out of it, step back from it. If you allow your thoughts to go into it, you'll be caught in this, television show. And they want you to be observing it and then making sure your thoughts are monitored. And when you put words to your thoughts, that gives it more energy. And when you put, feelings and passion behind those thoughts, that gives it more energy. So every time you get upset about the news, guess what you're doing? You're adding to it. You're not helping this planet to reach the critical point of awakening. You are putting more negative energy there that prevents it, that stops it from happening. So this is the most important thing. Monitor every single thought and the words and the actions and the feelings behind it. And, just go, the truth of who you are. Connect with divine, get in that love, connect with Mother Earth, and say, all right, now I'm going to start thinking, because I am a walking, talking master. I am a walking, talking divine co-creator being. And so just continually asserting that this is the truth of who you are. And I used to give I'll give the homework assignment to your viewers that I used to give in my class years ago. I taught at the Broome Community College for 12 years in the community education department. And I had 36 courses over that period of time I taught, and they voted me teacher of the year at the very end, because initially I was being picketed and tomatoes thrown at me when I first started teaching.
What state was that?
Binghamton, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, upstate New York. And yeah, but at that time I was going to say, you can communicate with your loving dead ones, and they were just freaking out. All the anyway.
So much has changed.
I know. The point being was the homework assignment was this. All right, everybody, you have a homework assignment. Now I'm only going to use the the name of Jeshua, Jesus, because people know the name. It's based in Christianity, but you can use whatever spiritual leader, Buddha, whatever you want to. But here's the key. I used to tell the students, for this week's homework assignment, I want you to go out and walk and talk like Jesus the Christ for a day.
Nice.
And they would go, what? And I'm going, yeah, that's your homework assignment. And they said, well, I can't do that. I said, yes, you can. In his own words, he said in the scriptures, all of you can do what I have done, and some of you will do even more.
Oh, love it.
Okay. So if you go walk like a duck, you will think you are a duck. If you go practice being Yeshua of Nazareth, Christed one, you will become Christed one. So that is the homework assignment. And that means what you think and what you speak and what you write and how you act for a day. And if you practice that one day, guess what? You can practice it for 2 days. You can practice it for 3 days.
I love that assignment, because I used to say to people all the time when they'd say, I just don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. I would say, well, what would Jesus do? I mean, because most people identify with Jesus, even though I'm not religious really anymore. I don't like to, I'm cutting cords from all these things so I can get back to my authentic self, whatever, the kindness of the human, the kind in the human. And isn't
be
that
unto others as you want to be unto you. That's my new golden rule.
Yeah, and be the change. Be the change we want to see. Talk the talk we want to hear. All these things. I mean, it starts with us.
It does. It does. And the most important factor in what I just expressed about going out and being a divine master being.
Yeah.
Most of us do not feel that we're qualified, do not feel that we're worthy, do not feel that we are capable, do not feel we have any near abilities to do that. All of that is false evidence appearing real. FEAR.
Oh.
Zig Ziglar cloned FEAR as false evidence appearing real. If you think you're not capable, if you think that you're not worthy, if you think that you are not gifted, that's all fear, and it's the illusion blocking you from being your Christed divine self.
I so agree with that. I mean, we are that. You're exactly right. I agree. It's about peeling off all the layers of the onion, or getting through the dark veil to see what's really here and to see who we really are. I always say this too. When we remember who we really are, then we'll know we're the ones we're waiting for.
Yes. And let us also express that you and I both know from our current alliances with people and studies and such, that there are some huge, wonderful source galactic changes that are coming upon us in energies, and the energies will help so many people let go of these false fears and awaken to their divine selves. So they are getting a booster shot. Let's just say, you got a lot of help coming in. So now's the time to get on board of that, releasing, letting go, getting clear and clean from all this cosmic crap. Let's get on with being cosmically divine, all of us.
The time is now. So I mentioned your website and your phone number at the top of the hour or the beginning of this interview, but would you like to repeat that for us?
Sure. The website Cosmic Coaching for You is cosmiccoaching, FORYOU.com. cosmiccoachingforyou.com. And email is real easy, mj@cosmiccoachingforyou.com. And then my phone number, that's real easy too, 561 area code, and that's 808-4900. 808-4900.
Awesome.
And I thank you so much.
Merriam, it's been such a blessing to have you with us today, and I know the viewers are going to love this, especially the little teaser you gave us. So you need to sign up now and get yourself clean, so you can start bringing in your gifts. I'm going to have to have that next session with you to get my gifts. Or more of them. I know a lot of them, but you can never have too many, right? Too many gifts?
If you had 10,000 lives, you have 10,000 lives with gifts and abilities that you want to start bringing in. So,
Ah,
yeah.
crazy.
Mhm.
Thank you, Miriam. Until next time.
I thank you. And hi and bye, everybody.
Bye bye.